All right, Mike, the recording has started, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and kick off the event.
All right, thanks. Hi, this is Mike Woods from CA Technologies, and this morning we're going to be looking at the new service packs that were just recently delivered for Workload Automation AE, aka Autosys, which is 11.3.6 Service Pack 4, and for the WCC, the Workload Control Center, which is release 11.4 Service Pack 3. And do you want to advance the slide? Thanks. So here's just the typical or usual legal statement. Let's go to the next slide. All right. Before we begin, I just want to mention that our next series of sprints are going to be based around performance benchmarks. So the idea is really to come up with a set of metrics that you can use to basically gauge, how much work can you put through your scheduler. To register for those events, you can go to the URL that's on the screen there, so validate.ca.com, and you'll get invited to the sprint reviews, and we'll go over the benchmarks as we collect them. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, and Peter, do you want to take over at this point?
Okay, hello everyone, this is Filip Rupa from the WCC development team. So I will bring you what's on today's agenda. We have these 6 points that we'll be discussing on terms of what's new in UI and engine. The first 4 steps, first 4 points, I will be mentioning what's new on the UI side. First 2 are regarding the Oracle PK authentication. Then we have a summary of what's changed on security and internal terms. And the 4th part will be new UI element, job tree in monitoring. Points 5 and 6, we will get back to Autosys team, and they will discuss what's new on the engine side. Okay, and now we can go to the first point of our agenda. I will discuss changes in WCC Installer. So you can see a screenshot of what's new in panel or graphical installation in WCC. This is the database settings which was changed because of support of Oracle PK authentication. So you can see that originally the panel was just one, containing all settings for WCC and reporting database. By introducing new settings for PKI authentication, the panel would be too crowded and confused, so we had to switch. You have to switch now between WCC database and reporting database settings, which are in separate tabs. On the next slide, you will see that the reporting database is in default setting using the shared database with WCC. So nothing has changed from the previous release in this term. The default setting is always that the reporting database is shared with WCC monitoring database. Okay, so what are the new things that are changed for supporting the Oracle PKI? We are providing settings to the Oracle PKI authentication driver in form of files that are on local file system on the machine where the WCC is being installed. So please make sure when installing that the user who runs the installation process also has access rights to those files. Otherwise, the installation process would not be able to read those files and use them for the setting of Oracle PKI authentication. One specialty regarding the TNS names.ora, which is configuration file for Oracle TNS access to database. When defining the location of this file, specify only the directory which contains this file, not the full path including the name. That's how the Oracle drivers are requiring this setting, so only the directory which contains the TNS names.ora. And the third thing I would like to mention are the libraries that are necessary for running the Oracle PKI authentication. there are free jar files which by licensing policies we cannot ship with our products. They are part of the Oracle database installation. And if you intend to use the PK authentication with WCC, you have to provide a location of these free jar files to the installer, so it can be then used for communicating with the PK authentication for Oracle database. Okay, this is how it would look in the installation panel, felt panel for Oracle TNS PKI. You can see here is the first one is the DNS-names.ora directory. You can see it's really the directory part. Then we have to provide the service areas, which is the name of the part of the settings part in DNS-names.ora file, which describes the connection to your database. The third one is the path to your key store, which now is the path including the full file name where your Oracle wallet is stored. You can see that the type of the file is single sign-on wallet. We are currently supporting only single sign-on wallet. And the fourth is the directory where the PKI jar libraries are stored. The last parameter is just the checkbox when you are specifying if you wish to use DN matching when checking the authentication with your Oracle database. So this is how it would look in graphical installer. In console installer, you would see the same set of parameters, same names, same contents in the parameters, both for WCC database and reporting database. If you choose to use TNS PKI, you have to provide these parameters. I think this is pretty clear now. And there is one scenario that I would like to mention in HA installation. If you are installing WCC in HA mode, obviously, typical installation just reads the database settings for the reporting database from the HA node you are connecting to. But in a scenario when you are not using shared databases and the reporting database on the remote node is configured with Oracle PK authentication or, for example, just Oracle TNS authentication, you have to provide some configuration files for PKI or TNS PKI from your local machine, which cannot be retrieved from remote machine database. So in this case, in installer, you would be presented with a warning message like this, that everything that could be retrieved from the remote machine was retrieved, and you are asked to fill in paths to a configuration file from the local machine in order to use the reporting database the same way as on the other HA node. All right, this concludes the part what was changed in WCC installer, and I would like to ask Peter to continue with WCC config interface tool.
Hello, this is Peter Vášek from WCC development team. I will continue with the second part of the changes in WCC UI related to Oracle PKI implementation. So let's discuss how to install WCC, what are the changes in the settings of Oracle PKI for the installer. And the next WCC part, which can somehow change the settings, is WCC config batch interface command line tool, which enables to change EM as well as to change database. And because of the Oracle PKI, we introduced 3 new attributes, which are marked in the yellow color in this list of the database-related attributes for WCC config. And I will start with the DB server DN match attribute, which can hold value true or false, with the representation of the checkbox, which was visible in the UI installer screen. Actually, it indicates that the connection to the Oracle database should use DN matching or not. The other, like the second new attribute which has been introduced, is DB trustor path. It's a full path, including the file name, to the key store which holds the certificates to the Oracle database to set up the connection and authenticate. Currently, we are supporting only Oracle Wallet key store in the single sign-on version. So that's what's indicated in the third attribute, which is DB trustor type, which currently holds only the value SSO. This value should be actually provided. It is for forward compatibility. So in future, if there will be some new key store type supported, you can use the scripts or commands which you already use here, because you already indicated that you are using single sign-on valid. And in future, if there will be some new type of the key store, it will be just another option in this attribute as a new value for this attribute. With the red color, there is a indication that DB TNS path attribute has been changed in the meaning. Currently, it's a path to the directory where tnsnames.ora file is located. Previously, it was full path to the file which holds the TNS definition, including the file name, but since now it's only path to the directory where the file is. So that's the difference. And if you will be upgrading from older WCC version, which will have the full path, including the file name, WCC 11.4 SP3 will just trim this path up to the directory where the file is located. This is, for example, a command how to change database to Oracle, which is using PKI authentication. If I should a little bit describe of it, the first is username and password for the WCC config utility. That is the same as it was before. The same with the other attributes like DB app, DB platform, which is Oracle. That's clear. Then we can specify DB TNS path, which it is the path to the tnsnames.ora file. As I said, it's without the file name, and the section within the tnsnames.ora file, which holds the database connection definition. And the last three attributes are actually related to Oracle PKI. You can see here example of path to the Oracle wallet. The DB trustor type is SSO, and the DN match is set to be enabled. So using these settings, if I will run this command, it will change WCC database connection to Oracle, and it will use certificate authentication without the using of username and password authentication. So this was all for Oracle PKI support in WCC UI. And now let me quickly go through security internal changes in WCC 11.4 SP3. From the security perspective, there were two changes. First, the WCC ASID session cookie, which is used for user login or user session to WCC, is now using path /WCC. Originally, it was only like slash, like a root. By providing like more scope path, it ensures that the cookie could be used really inside the WCC context and not in some malicious web application which will be deployed in the same Tomcat. So this small change actually tied to the WCC cookie really to WCC application. The second change is that client-initiated SSL negotiation is disabled now. This SSL negotiation could be leveraged for some denial of services attacks. So for the security point of view, we disabled it because it is not needed in normal life. So it can be enabled by some internal Java settings, but by default it's disabled for the sake of the security. From the internal changes which have been introduced in this service pack 3, it is usage of random entropy pool. This is important for the environments which are running on virtualized Unix or Linux. There were some issues with the performance of such WCC installations, and the performance was limited by synchronous entropy pool, which were like blocking. So there is well-known workaround how to set the entropy pool to asynchronous non-blocking one, And in previous WCC version, we started to deploy default settings to this random generator. In past version, it was implemented for WCC application as well as for installer. And in SP3, we provided it for the command line tools like, for example, WCC config as well. So this is the change, and together with installer and WCC, the random generator is used now completely for all WCC parts. So the speed up should be visible if you were like fighting with the performance on virtualized Linux environments. That's all from me, and I will pass the word to my colleague Jan Havel, who will guide you through Job 3 UI changes.
Okay, thank you, Petr. So I will be guiding you through the Job 3 demonstration. I have just prepared one slide, which kind of outlines what will be the content of the demonstration. So we will go through how to display the views and servers in the tree, how to find jobs there, how to work with the job tree flow and jobs widget, and perform some actions on the tree nodes. So I will now try to share my browser so that you can see the real demonstration. Okay, so it should be visible now. So as you can see, I've just shared one of the WCC. I will now move to the monitoring tab. And as you can see, we have reworked the left side navigation panel. It now contains three tabs. One is the views section, which contains the job tree for the views. So once expanded, the root node, you can see the list of views below it. Similarly, servers, if I expand the servers root node, the available Autosys instances are shown. Other policies, nothing much was changed here, just the link is here, and otherwise just the other policies list widget is displayed after clicking it. So let's get back to the views. If we select one of the views, you can see that the detail of that particular view has been shown. I can expand the view a node to see the contents of it. You can do it either by clicking this icon on the left side, or you can double click it as well. The third option is that you can use arrow keys to navigate the tree up and down, and you can also click left and right to expand and call out some of the boxes or views. So if we take a look at one of the views and the contents in the job tree, we can see that at the first there are the boxes and continue the ordinary jobs that have no boxes. The boxes can be denoted or distinguished by the other jobs that they have the number of jobs below them in the brackets on the right side. And in case they have some jobs below them, and they have also this expand icon. And there are 0 jobs like this job, for example, then the expand icon is not shown and this cannot be expanded. Please also note that the job count in the brackets for views or for any box job is not taking into account the job level security, so it's globally this job count is same for each user, even though he or she doesn't have access to all of the jobs below that particular view or box. We have on the top of the job tree the toolbar, where you can refresh the section to get the latest data. You can select the auto refresh checkbox to do the automatic refreshing each 15 seconds by default. This setting is configurable in the configuration of monitoring. This is the same property as all the other monitoring widgets are using. And last, there is also the timestamp when the last refresh or last data was retrieved. Each node of the tree also provides a context menu. So, for example, for the views, the context menu actually provides the same menu items as what you can find in the views widget. So, for example, editing, export, copy, deletion. The same is for the jobs. Again, you will get the same options as you are used to in the jobs widget. So, open in quick view, edit, click edit, do send events, or open send or cancel event dialogues. You may select multiple nodes using the shift key or control key, and then do action on multiple of the items so that you can do some batch operations. For the servers, there is also context menu. It again has the same content as the servers widget. The content of each of the server is basically the same as the servers widget. First, you got here sorted by box jobs, and then boxes, and then the ordinary jobs are continue below them. So again, in alphabetic order. Let's see how actually the new tree view is interacting with the existing widgets or existing data views on the right side of monitoring. So as you could see, if you select some of the views, the view detail is shown on the right side. One of the changes that has been done in this release is that if you select, for example, jobs and alerts tab, and you then go to another view, this selection will be always done, and always you will go to that particular tab. Same happens if I select flow. Then if you walk through the views, you will always get the flow immediately. Another synchronization or interaction between flow or between the job tree and the actual widgets is that the selection is synchronized between the left side and the right side. So, for example, if I select one of the jobs in the jobs widget, the jobs will be located in the tree, and it will show you how and which boxes it is automatically. So you can just walk through by clicking the jobs in the jobs widget, and it will locate it in the tree immediately. The same happens if I click in the job tree. The selection will be done in the jobs widget. But there is one exception here that there is one limitation that we don't provide the option to move to another page. So in case if I select here just, for example, 10 records, and if I select some of the jobs which are currently not on this page, nothing will happen. So this is one of the limitations. But if you have set it up so that you will see all the records, for example, from that view, then of course, so if I click here, the selection will be then done also in the jobs widget. Another synchronization is between the job tree and the flow. So if, for example, if I go here and select some of the jobs in the tree, the selection is done also in the flow, and jobs is entered and selected. If I expand or collapse some of the boxes in the tree, it will be also expanded or collapsed in the flow. The same if I do it from the other part. If I select one of the jobs here or collapse it, then the box will be also collapsed in the tree view. One limitation here is what we haven't had the time to finish is the expand and collapse all feature. So it will not do the synchronization here. So this is one of the items to be targeted for one of the next releases. This actually brings me to the end of the presentation of the job tree. So that's all. And I can pass the voice to Rajesh.
Rajesh, if you're talking, nobody can hear you. I'm not sure if you're on mute, but please hit #6, which should unmute your line.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry about the glitch. My name is Rajesh, and I am from the engine side. So I'll be discussing the changes we made for this release. So in this release, we have enabled the Autosys product to communicate with PK-enabled Oracle database. So this PK-enabled database is based primarily on single sign-on wallets. So enabling this support for the product has led to the changes in the installer and the Java-based applications like a compliance app and RESTful web services. All the database interfacing scripts that we have today, like those for creating the database or refreshing the database or creating the indexes and running a sync operation after the rollover of the dual DB, like auto BCP is what I'm talking about. So all of these scripts have been made PKI aware now. And lastly, we will discuss about the script that we are providing to ease the conversion from product running in password mode to the certificate or PKI mode and vice versa. So this is as part of the changes to support this PKI in the product, we had to make a couple of changes in the installer. We added 4 new panels, and the way to actually make the product to install in PKI mode is done through the custom mode. Typical mode, you will see the same old options of installing the product in password mode. So custom mode is what one has to choose if they want to install the product in PKI mode. So this is the primary event server properties panel. So if you compare this with the password mode, most of the columns look similar, except that we have done away with the database hostname and database port, and we have introduced a new field called Oracle Wallet Support jar path. So this path is expected to contain the Oracle supported PKI jars like Oracle PKI.jar, osdt_core.jar, and osdt_cert.jar. So these jar files are necessary for our Java-based applications to be able to make connections to the database and work. This is the database administrator information panel. We don't require the sys passwords anymore. As a matter of fact, switching to the PKI mode obviates the need to have passwords now. So it is the TNS admin directory that plays a vital role in actually authenticating the user. So this TNS admin directory is assumed to contain both SQLnet.ora and tnsname.ora, and this particular path contains the location, one of the files like tnsnames.ora is supposed to contain the location of the wallet, which the user who is running the installer is supposed to have a file access to. And this particular user that is linked to the TNS admin directory, he is supposed to have certain privileges for the product to go ahead with the installation. So if you can see the text just above the TNS admin directory field, you will see what all privileges on what all direct tables are required for the installation to go smooth. This is the ADB admin user panel. So again, we don't need a password over here. So it is the TNS admin directory which contains the Oracle wallet which this user needs to be associated with. And there is a new field called certificate distinguished name. This entity actually uniquely maps the owner of the certificate to the user in the database. Again, this is another panel for Autosys. So we have one new field in this which is the wallet location path. Here one is expected to give the complete path, including the name of the file, which is cwallet.sso, which stands for single sign-on wallet. So this particular path is mandatory to be given for our Java-based applications to work. And this is the Autosys specific wallet location that we are talking about. So after the product is installed successfully on the Windows machine, if you open the admin GUI, you should be seeing a panel like what I have shown. Now we have a new field added called access mode, and this will reflect the mode of the database that the product is configured in. So if it is enabled for PKI mode, you will see it as certificate, and if the product is running with the password as the means of authentication, you should be seeing a password in the access mode field. So this is the new configuration parameter that we have introduced now. So this is called DB access mode, and for a product that is installed in PKI mode, this value will be set to 1. And if this value is set to 1, then the values that are assigned against DB access, which is for Autosys and its corresponding password, will be simply ignored by the product. As I mentioned, all the scripts have been made certificate aware. So I have provided one snapshot of the script createadb.pl, which is used for creating the database. So we have introduced a new inquiry as a first thing soon after the execution of the file. So you can see that we explicitly ask database authentication mode. So default is password, and the user can choose if he wants to install in PKI mode as 1. And one more observation that one can see here is we are no longer relying on passwords. Instead, we have the TNS admin values for the sys user and for the ADB admin user. And there is this again distinguished name, which I mentioned is a unique way of identifying the owner of the certificate. So when we create these users, ADB admin and Autosys users, these will be associated with these particular distinguished names, and user using the particular TNS admin will be directly linked to those particular users in the database. So that's how we identify what user a particular wallet is being mapped to. This is the script that I was talking about. So it is not a simple configuration toggling that one can make to make the product switch between password and PKI mode. So in addition to the DB access mode, which I have shown as the new configuration parameter that we added, we need to change in lot of files for the product to fully run in PKI mode. So to ease the pain of the user manually going and changing n number of files, we have introduced this new script which goes by the name switch DB access mode, which will take care of doing all the stuff for you. So it relies on two parameter files, which is paramfile.oracle.cert mode. This parameter file is necessary when you are switching from password to certificate mode. And pass mode is for the case when you are already in certificate mode and wanted to switch to the password mode. So the contents of the files will be very self-explanatory. So we have already covered what will be those, like I have mentioned about the path to the single sign-on wallet, path to the Oracle jar files, and then the distinguished names of ADB admin and autosave. So these will be the fields that are the primary driving factors in these scripts. So I am not going to go into the details of those because those are self-explanatory. And this particular script comes under DBOBG folder under $autosys. And at the successful or after the completion of the script, a log file will be created in the same directory, and you can see it goes by the same name, switch dbaccessmode.log. And finally, with every service pack, we tend to keep all the third-party components that we are using to the highest and latest available versions. Towards that, this time we have upgraded the JRE component to the latest available versions for all the platforms. And finally, we have all the 11.3.6 SP3 AE fixes and 11.4 SP2 UI fixes included with this release. The fixes that are done can be looked into the release notes, which is available at the links that I am showing in the doc ops. With that, I conclude my presentation for the AE. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Okay, so this is Mike Woods again. So we have two questions so far from Dale. The first question is, does the WCC Installer change the machine startup and shutdown scripts for RNGD? So Peter, do you want to answer that question?
Okay. This is Philip. I can answer this question. As far as the startup scripts, we are not touching any of this. We are only consumer regarding the random number generators, so we are not touching the system scripts.
All right, thank you.
The change that has been done is only setting the location from where Java runtime is getting the source of randomness. So it's not system-wide setting.
All right, thanks. And the second question is, for the view filters, is there only one filter allowed per view, per server?
Hi. Well, if you mean if you create a view, then you can only create one filter per server, but you may combine the conditions using the logical operators so that you will achieve, hopefully, every possible or every desired combination or any logic you need. So yeah, this has been changed a few are referring to probably job status control, where it was done differently, but in monitoring current version, you can only always create each filter one per server.
All right, thank you. And before we open it up for general questions, just wanted to mention again, the next set of sprints is going to be around the performance benchmarks. So again, the URL to register for the sprint reviews is validate.ca.com. So any other questions on the phone line? So your phone line should be muted, so you may need to hit #6 to unmute.
Yes, and for anyone who's listening to the audio via the WebEx broadcast from your computer, you can feel free to use the Q&A feature in the lower right portion of the screen.
Okay, while we're waiting for any questions, I just want to thank the presenters for their hard work today, and all the developers who also worked very hard over the past couple of months getting this service pack out.
So, Mike, there is another question. It is related to support of Red Hat 7. So that is asked by Bern Ronker. So Bern, we are planning for next release, and this is one of the items that we have in our priority list. So once we finalize the requirement for next release, definitely it is going to be part of RHEL 7 support is going to be part of it.
Okay, there's another question that came in. Do we have any plans to include Autosys Secure in the WCC UI? Do you want to answer that one? Nitin?
Yes, Mike. I'm sorry, I got disconnected.
Oh, sorry. So the question is, are there any plans to include Autosys Secure in the WCC UI? So I'm not sure if the question is, will it be allowed through the command line interface, or will there be some other functionality to expose it through WCC? I'm not sure who asked the question, but if you could update just clarify your question a little bit in the Q&A, we'll get it answered. Okay, there's another question from Irene about the benchmarks. Will it be for WCC and Autosys? And the answer is yes. Both sets of performance benchmarks will be reviewed and worked on. Okay. One more question came in. Does the wallet SSO method require us to get some public key information from the DBAs? So let Rajesh or Peter answer that one.
Yeah, so this wallet creation is in its, I mean, it's more involved, I would say. There should be a certificate generated, and then that certificate has to be signed by the certificate authority within that particular organization, and then that is how, after having this information, you can then use Oracle Wallet Manager to generate this auto login wallet. So there is certain, I would say, administration stuff involved in having this completed.
All right, thank you. And one more question. Nitin, are you still on?
Yes.
Okay. It's a bit outside the scope of the presentation, but is there a date for the R12 release?
So basically, we do not have any precise time at this point of time. Tentatively, it is going to be the next calendar year. And we are still working on the scope for the next release, which is for R12.
All right, thank you. Okay, I think I got all the questions.
I don't see anything else yet. And just so everyone on the webcast knows, we'll be publishing a replay of this webcast later today, and then we'll be posting a recap, including the slides, etc., probably tomorrow out in the community.
Okay. So actually, we did have one more question just come in. Where is the sign up for the performance discussion on validate.ca.com? So it should be underneath the workload automation section. It may not be out on there just yet, but it should be there shortly. And it should be pretty clear on the description of it. All right, and I just got notified it should be underneath the Workload Automation AE, and it is on the site already. It's called CA Workload Automation AE Opportunity. Oh, I shouldn't. Yep.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, do we? One last call for questions, and if not, we'll stop the recording and wrap up. All right. It looks like there aren't any other questions. So Mike and everyone else, thank you very much for your time for presenting today. And to all of our attendees, thank you very much for your time today as well. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Len.